Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's once again get right to the news.
But we'll get started. We're talking about Andor. What we know, because we kind of want to talk a little bit about Andor. We know it's 50 days out. And
Okay.
we have some small details. I mean, they don't have any information about the show yet, which is surprising. But Season 1, of course, 12 episodes, releasing the first 2 episodes on August 31st. Season 1 is going to cover 1 year's span. It's going to cover all of 5 BBY up till 4 BBY. That span is when this one takes place. I believe there's only going to be a second season at this point now. I think it's cut from originally being like 5 seasons to now it's just going to be 2.
Yeah, and they're just going to cram those
I'm
other
worried
4
about
seasons
2.
into...
It sounds like it's going to be a little bit rushed, possibly
Nah,
overflowing.
Star Wars rushing things? Nah.
Season 2 begins filming this fall, and Season 2 is going to cover a lot of time. Episodes 1 through 3 are going to cover 4 BBY. 4 through 6 are going to cover 3 BBY.
Yeah, a year per season, essentially. Or a year per 3 episode block.
7 through 9 is going to cover 2 BBY, and 10 through 12 will be 1 BBY. And it's going to include a lead up supposedly directly into Rogue One. We also know that for Season 1, the episodes were written and directed in blocks to kind of help with consistency. I really hope that works. Consistency is king. I want to know, when are they going to start giving us some actual information on the show? We barely know what it's about.
Andor. It's about Andor, and it's going to lead into Rogue One. That's all you need to know. K2SO will show up eventually, and then everybody will be happy.
But I need to know what the actual plot is going to be. We know there's going to be some espionage with Mon Mothma.
Like I said...
We know something about Rebels is going to happen, but we've seen there's so many like different visuals in the trailer. It's hard exactly to pin down what is our overall story, what is our plot, what is it, just we're watching a character grow and change, what is the plot?
Well, I hate to sound, again, I've talked before, like, I don't want to sound like that fan, like, well, the next time it's going to be good, and I haven't been thrilled with Book of Boba Fett or Kenobi, but let's not forget, I thought the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian are fantastic, so it's not like Disney has never done anything well, and I'm just sitting here, one miss after another, saying, yeah, next time. No, they've proven...
You liked Bad Batch, too.
Yeah, Bad Batch is good. Rebels was good. I mean, not Clone Wars level good for Rebels, but Bad Batch I thought was a really solid start at the very least. I think there's a ton of potential there, but, I'm not that person who's like, I hated everything, but next time it's going to be good. There's been good things, so I do have hope for Andor. I keep having hope because I don't want to give up hope. That's all sometimes you have, right? That's kind of a theme of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Sometimes all you have is hope. But I don't know. If Andor is done right, I think it could be exceptional, other than the problem of it leads right into Rogue One, right? We know exactly where the story has to go. That kind of gets really old.
So the stakes just aren't the same.
The stakes are never the same.
We know Mon Mothma's not going to die. We know Andor's not
going to die. No, we know K2SO isn't going to be blown apart, and if he is, they'll just be put back together. We know what characters can and cannot survive in this, and that's always... Mm-hmm. It takes... And I know people always point out, well, how many times do main characters die in a movie or, show anyway? That it doesn't... Yeah,
hey,
but...
Rogue One, they all went.
Yeah, but there's always that thought in the back of your head that something terrible could happen to them, right? Mm-hmm. And, at least having that thought is better than knowing with certainty that nothing bad can happen. I don't know, like, Andor it's the sleeper, it's the underdog, and I think that's a good thing, because a lot of hype going into Book of Boba Fett, a lot of hype going into Kenobi doesn't arguably live up to said hype, and just when something doesn't live up to the hype, it feels like even more of a disappointment, right?
Well, that's why you need almost, in some cases, of course, for characters, you need linear storytelling like Marvel does.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there are stakes.
Yeah,
you watch the first Iron Man, or you watch the third Iron Man, even, because I'm going to reference way back so I don't spoil things for people. Watch Infinity War, we didn't know, or Endgame, let's go with Endgame. We didn't know who was going to survive and who wasn't, because of the linear storytelling, and anyone literally could have something horrible befall them, and it did.
It did. We had many characters who had surprise endings. You thought could happen, but
you didn't know.
You didn't know. That's what makes it exciting.
We weren't like, we know he survives because in the next movie that sets in front of this, he's alive. No, we didn't know because they do a more linear storytelling.
Yeah, and that's what Star Wars needs to find a way to get back to, and at least, like I've said about the Mandalorian era, at least it deals with Mandalorians who we know virtually nothing about. And even even the fall of the Republic and the rise of the First Order and all the things we see in the sequels, that doesn't necessarily impact what has happened with the Mandalorians. Like, they're kind of independent of all that.
Absolutely.
So that does make it far more interesting, I'll say, knowing that the Mandalorians could end up anywhere. Anything could happen to them. Or we could go, like I said, we could go into, the unknown regions. We could deal with the Chiss, and they've been built up in 2 trilogies now in books by Timothy Zahn with what's going on with them. So
I would love to see them transition to the screen.
Oh God, that needs to happen. We need to bring in the Chiss Ascendancy into live action at some point. So, and Thrawn obviously is going to be in the Mandoverse here at some point, and probably the Ahsoka series. So
yeah,
that's exciting at the very least. That there are open-endedness. There's open-endedness to it, right? That's all you really need.
That's one reason I'm kind of getting excited for that.
Skeleton Crew.
Yes, exactly. I'm getting excited for Skeleton Crew because we don't know the characters, we don't know the stakes, we don't know anything.
Yeah, well,
so maybe it has potential to be really good because there'll be actual stakes, new characters, new things. They're going out into wild space, which is a largely unexplored area.
Well, yeah, huge. Especially for people who don't really read if you're just watching the movies and the shows, the wild space is never even referenced, more or less, much less delved into or explored. So. I mean, that's exciting for people who are more live-action Star Wars fans. And even if you do, partake in the EU or the new, expanded universe content or whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, that's exciting. It's always exciting to go to different places that have, not a fixed points in time or fixed endings.
It's more along the vein of what I'm looking for in Star Wars these days.
Yeah,
I don't need another story back telling me everything.
I mean, the worst thing the prequels ever did is make prequels popular.
Well, what's funny is, as everyone said, who asked for an Andor series?
Nobody would.
I mean, they could have, instead of doing an Andor series, could have done like a Birth of the Rebellion series.
Yeah, you could.
Something that kind of covered maybe multiple different characters. You could even then sneak in like characters from Lost Stars.
Yeah, we know Rebels characters are going to show up in Andor. That feels like a given, right?
It does and it doesn't. Because I feel like their missions are more wholesome and good, and Andor's going to be going on missions that are going to make him morally sink.
We see Mon Mothma in Rebels, for example, though.
Yes, but she's a good character. She's probably not going to be giving horrible assassination missions and other things that Andor's going to be going on.
Certainly change our opinion of her, yeah.
It would, because she's very peace-loving, pacifist. She's a good person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't see her
giving Andor, we need you to go kill this guy.
Yeah, Andor, go take care of this for us.
Go whack this guy for us.
Saw Gerrera is a high mark for who we're going to see in this series because...
He's the one who will be.
He started out working with the Rebels before he kind of splintered into his own even more radicalized
You kind of see that in Rebels a little bit, that he was working with, and I think it's implied.
So I wouldn't be surprised to actually see on film, or I guess you could say, him actually separate from the Rebels, and maybe he tries to persuade Andor to come with him.
Oh, probably. Well, he doesn't seem to... Yeah, I guess that's possible.
It's possible. He never really... I don't remember
in Rogue One. Well, they kind of...
imply that he knew him.
Yeah, Rogue One tends to imply they don't really know each other, I think.
I take it all back, but he could still show up.
Yeah.
Or at least be mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. That's tricky. Tricky ground with that one. But, I mean, Saw Gerrera could just be exclusively dealing with Mon Mothma in the series, too. That could be kind of,
very true.
At first they're, he's helping her in kind of the more right ways, and eventually he goes
more and more extreme, and that makes her upset.
Yeah, whenever he gets blown up or whatever happens to him, I think we don't know exactly what happens to him, but at some point he gets kind of blown up. So I'm guessing that's the turning point. So good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, am I excited for Andor? Yeah. Do I think it could be really good? I think it could be surprisingly good. Does it have an ending that we know? Yeah. Unfortunately, it does.
It's weird because there's 2 veins to go. I mean, you'll introduce us to some new characters, obviously. You'll make us fall in love with some new characters. But you can't just kill all of them to make your stakes known.
That's what Rogue One
Some
did.
have to survive, and we have to not know who survives and who doesn't. You can't give us a character and then go, well, we have a thing in Disney now. We're going to give you someone, and we're going to make sure you like them. And then we're going to kill them because we had to have stakes somehow. You have to make sure that is not always what happens. If you start doing that, people will be...
Yeah, they're falling into patterns is, I think, the problem with Disney Star Wars. You can just see the patterns. You kind of expect them to do certain things, and it just... it's boring. They need to do something to, like I said, give us an open-ended story. That's what the Mandalorian is great. We have a bunch of characters we aren't overly familiar with. These are new characters.
Absolutely.
These are completely new stories to us. So that automatically makes it more interesting, I think.
Well, and I'd like to see more, like, you could see bounty hunters in this show. I mean, we know Vader has used bounty hunters in the past to carry out his bidding. There could be a lot of really cool things in this show. I'm not saying bring back Tamora Morrison right away, but wouldn't it be cool if he went and disintegrated people? Because we have that line, no disintegrations. Yeah. Meaning he's killed people that Vader's probably wanted to question, so why not now? Why not put that into Andor somewhere?
You could.
That Vader is like, I'm going to use my boy Boba Fett here to go and hunt down some of these rebels that are causing trouble, and he disintegrates them.
I think the unfortunate part about Andor is that it seemed like at first it was really ambitious. 5 seasons are all kind of plotted and planned out. We could have had the depth of many different... It could have been a... to use the example everybody does, the kind of the Game of Thrones, right? Mm-hmm. Where you got many different characters, many different plot lines that kind of weave and... a little more morally gray, which is something we don't tend to see out of Star Wars. It could have been something in that vein. Instead, it feels like, well, now we have to condense those seasons into, we had plans for 4 more seasons. Now we're going to just take that and put it into 1 season and cap this thing off. So
season 1 is potentially really good because they had that all written and all done. And then the rest of it, they're like, and shrink.
Yeah, there's a really good chance season 1 is really good, and then you get season 2, and you're like, well, this just feels completely rushed.
That's one thing I'm terrified of happening.
Yeah,
because they kept going 5 seasons, and I'm like, well, maybe 3 seasons. Now, like 2 seasons, you're getting the whole thing.
2 seasons, and we're going to take like a year per 3 episodes. It's going to be
maybe they just didn't feel the hype was there, but they wanted to tell the whole story.
I don't think the hype was there. I mean, that's the problem. The hype has never been there for Andor. It was like the first show announced, and that was after Rogue One was a huge hit in the theaters because it's actually a good Star Wars film in my opinion. They're like, well, we got to capitalize off that success, so we'll take Andor. Yeah, we'll give him a story. And
yay, Andor.
And not that Andor is or that Diego Luna is a terrible actor. I think he's a great actor, and I know he has a deep passion for Star Wars, which is probably one of the reasons why he's doing it and why he was picked. But it's like, does anybody really need the Andor backstory?
I mean, Star Wars is good, but it could be better.
That's Pedro Pascal.
I know. I just like that line.
I know. Yes. But I think those two are really good friends, if I'm remembering right.
They are. They're friends.
Yes. Well, I think that's all we've got for you this time. So take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of today's news or what we had to say about today's news. And let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.